right, let's head to the SEC, which is not a very good league. I think it's probably the number 6 league this year overall. I don't know how many bids they're going to get. I think the max is 4. It could be as few as 2. My guess is it probably will be 3. I think Florida and Kentucky and somebody else will get bids out of this league, unless you have somebody from down lower in the conference pulling a big upset in the conference tournament. That could skew things. Let's look at these teams, at least some of the contenders. Jim, Florida's obviously the team to beat. They're the number 1 team in the nation. I don't think they are the number 1 team in the nation. I think that's incorrect, but I've got them like 5th or 6th, so they're really good. And they're the best. I think they're the best team in this conference. They're the beast in the SEC.
Well, they went to Kentucky and won the game at Kentucky, which is pretty impressive. Kentucky's a young club. Billy Donovan's been there before. They've won before. They've won the national championship before. They got the coaching. They got the pedigree. I happen to like this Florida team. I think I have them rated a little bit higher than you do, Dave. I think they come out of this. I think they will stay focused and win this tournament, the SEC tournament. I go down the list here, and I know a lot of people think this Missouri team is a contender. I do not. I think when it comes to crunch time and the big game, I don't think Missouri's going to get there. I think they're going to choke.
I think Frank Haith is horrible, and their performance at Georgia on Tuesday night was disgraceful. Absolutely terrible game. They should have lost the game by 25. If you saw the game, the final score was actually misleading. They got some points late to make it quote-unquote respectable. I'll look at Kentucky, and I want to also touch on a couple other teams, Tennessee maybe. Kentucky's got tons of talent, obviously. But, it's very rare that you get a team to do what we saw Michigan do many years ago with the Fab Five and what we saw Kentucky do a couple of years ago with all those freshmen. Teams that have this many kids, they're not the teams you want to back at tournament time. They're not good on the road. They're inconsistent in terms of putting several good games together. And I think this Kentucky team is actually the more typical freshman-studded team. They've had times when they just don't seem to be on the same page. You look at Willie Cauley-Stein, the big hyphen. There are times when he doesn't. There was a game recently where he just absolutely smirking at Calipari during a timeout, like he knows what's going on. And I mean, boy, was Calipari giving it to him. That's the drawback to recruiting this many good freshmen. They're one and dones. They're looking to play at the next level, and sometimes it doesn't come together as a team. They've got some dynamite individual pieces, and you can see it with their athleticism. Great rebounding team. When they want to work on defense, they can be just plain nasty. But they haven't done well on the road at all. Been a really bad team away from home against the spread. I mean, really bad. I think it's 3-12-2 in their last 17.
It is, and that's a sign right there that you want to stay away from them. Yeah.
Yep. And the fact is they have not been real good against the top teams that they've played. Lost to Michigan State, lost to Baylor, lost to North Carolina, lost to LSU, lost to Arkansas, and as you mentioned earlier, John, they lost at home to to Florida. They're going to be in the NCAA tournament. They don't have to worry about the SEC. They're probably going to win a couple of games. I think they'll be playing into the round of 16, but I don't think they'll get any further than that. Another team I want to look at is Tennessee. They're not happy now. The volunteer fan base, I can tell you this, is not real happy with Quanzo Martin. They think this team's underachieved, and I think I might agree with that. I think the talent level on this team is good enough so that there shouldn't even be a sweat right now as to whether they're in the NCAA tournament, and there is. I'm not saying Quanzo Martin needs to go or anything like that, but I think this team maybe is not living quite up to their potential. And unlike Kentucky, it's not a bunch of freshmen on this team. They're more experienced than that. I just haven't seen the consistency I want to see out of this team, and I don't think they're going to make a great run in the postseason. John, how about a couple from you?
Sure. The Georgia Bulldogs are kind of playing well right now on a 6-1 run. They're kind of a sleeper team in that they started 6-6 in non-conference play, kind of under the radar, but all of a sudden they made a move here in the SEC. We saw them with a big showdown game with Missouri the other night, just blew them out, 71-56. They shot 52% from the field. They allowed just 32%. Missouri 3 of 18 from long range, and Georgia had the edge in scoring inside the paint, 38-18. When I look at Georgia, they're kind of a mini Florida. They're focused totally on defense. They're number one in the SEC in field goal shooting defense allowed, just 39%. Sophomore Charles Mann leads in scoring, just 13 points per game. Hasn't been a good shooter, though, all season, just 40% from the field, 30% from long range. He had a terrible game against South Carolina. 1 of 10 shooting, but they didn't need him as they blew out the Gamecocks 73-56, and that's because their game is slowing the pace down and playing phenomenal defense. They have a couple of big guys up front in Marcus Thornton and Dante Williams, who are far more experienced. The downside for Georgia, though, and I think this is going to crop up in the tourney, they're not a good offensive team. They shoot 40% in SEC play. That's one of the worst, and they're 211th in the nation in shooting. And when you look at some of the step-up games in the season, they lost 84-70 to Colorado, 72-50 to Florida. Showdown with Kentucky, they lose 79-54, and Tennessee bopped them 67-48. So I like their defense, their attention to it, but boy, their step-up games have been terrible. And with that lack of offense, Dave, I'm not sure that's going to be a key recipe for a key to success in SEC conference play. Another team would be LSU. And it's no secret what the Tigers are doing. They have the big physical front court. And I love rebounding, especially in tournament play. But the thing is, the defense of the Tigers, just not that good. I think that's going to be exposed in tournament play. With that said, their 5-13 run against the SEC. And when LSU plays a team with a winning record, just 4-13 against the spread. So kind of sleeper teams, but they do have weaknesses, Dave, that can be exploited in the tourney.
Yeah, by the way, on Georgia, Mark Fox has done a great job with that team. I don't think there's much talent in that squad. And for them to play this well, I think is a testament to team play and the coaching. Yeah, one other team, and I think we saw last night, Jim, watching Florida and Vanderbilt play. The Commodores are sneaky. Yeah, I don't know how far they can go. I think they're kind of a 500 team in the conference. But if you catch them on the wrong night or the right night, they could be a dangerous team.
Well, let's say, and totally agree with you, Dave. I'd rather play Vanderbilt against, I'm not talking about winning, we're talking about covering point spreads. I'd rather play Vanderbilt catching points than Kentucky in almost any situation in the tournament. I think you're going to get a consistent Vanderbilt team playing their game, keeping the pace under control, usually low scoring because they do go under they have been going under the total 19-7, but that's home games. But on the road, they'll probably do pretty much the same thing. They're an under team. When you play that kind of defense, slow down tempo, you can upset other people's tempo. I'd have Vanderbilt on my card and against Kentucky almost every time that they got out there.
I'll give you one more team, and that's Ole Miss, which has hit the skids lately. They were sitting in really good shape. 2 weeks ago, they're sitting at 7-3 in the conference, and good overall record. I think they had 16 wins already. Whoops, they've lost 4 in a row. They were in a must-win game on Wednesday night against Alabama. They have to win that basketball game, and they basically have to win out to get back in the NCAA tournament competition, or the conversation, I should say. But if Ole Miss can get back on the right page with that backcourt of theirs, backcourt play is big in tournaments. They've got a good backcourt. Henderson's a bit enigmatic, to put it mildly, but he can go off. And Ole Miss, I would not throw Ole Miss out just yet. We'll see what they do tonight against Alabama. That'll be a harbinger maybe of things to come. This team is capable of getting hot. All right, let's recap what we've got. Mr. Vegas, once again, has a really good tournament offer for very, very small dollars, John.
That's right. $35. Here's what you get. You play right through the tourney in April. All of Mr. Vegas college basketball plays. It's also going to include a pair of college conference games of the month going on Saturday. He's won 3 straight of these, including that underdog game of the month last week with Wisconsin winning straight up at Iowa, all the way through April with Mr. Vegas. $35, 1-866-896-1627.
You're not hearing me talk much about the NBA because I'm really not having a very good NBA season. It's probably my weakest sport. So you're not going to hear too many NBA promos on here from me. But the college basketball has been great. I've had a real good year in college basketball, and it's going to continue. The big plays, game of the year 2 weeks ago, underdog of the year, outright dog winner by 16 last week. And believe me, it wasn't even that close. And this weekend, college triple-header on Saturday, and just been killing it for the most part of the weekends. It's going to include my mismatch game of the year, which is guaranteed to cover, not just win and cover, but they got to cover the spread by at least 10 points. This is going to be a blowout. It's got to do that, or the rest of the college season is free. So the perfect setup, if you're buying this, is for me to get the point spread win, but not by more than 9 points. So, have an easy winner, but not that easy, because then you'll get the winner and you'll be playing free. But that's how strongly I feel about this game is I think they're just going to annihilate their opponent this game. So that's why I put the guarantee to cover by at least 10 points, and the rest of the college hoop season is free. It'll be sold online Saturday for $50. You can get it right now for $25, along with the other 2 Saturday plays, plus a bonus high roller going tonight. Everything for $25 with that guarantee, too. 1-866-896-1629. And when you call, ask what the early bird rate is for baseball. It's a huge savings over the regular season prices. And you won't hear me talk about baseball like I talk about the NBA. NBA is my weakest game. Baseball is my strongest game. Year after year, we're talking a lot of serious profits if you've been on with my baseball plays, my favorite sport as a fan and also as a handicapper. So make the call, 1-866-896-1629. Baseball doesn't sell much. By the way, for people who don't know, it's a shame. I think it's the most beatable sport out there, but it doesn't sell. The customers, the bettors don't seem to like baseball that much, which is not a particularly good sign for the health of the sport, but that's another story entirely. Nevertheless, Jim, it's not a bad game to make money in.
No, it isn't, Dave. I think as people like the point spread sports where they're laying 11 to 10, and most of the public likes to bet favorites. And when you look at some of the favorites in baseball, you're laying $240, $250, $3, and it scares people. And if you don't know what you're doing and you start laying those big prices, you can go broke pretty quick, because one loss is like it's like 3 games in football or basketball. So you have to be a little afraid of it. If you don't know what you're doing, you can get hurt pretty bad. Fortunately, we do know what we're doing, and we've been able to profit from it. I don't think too many of us lay $3 prices that often. We're mostly looking for value with short prices or underdogs. And, there's also money. There's the run lines and things like that you can take advantage of. And as a matter of fact, in baseball, I know some people that makes pretty good money playing round-robin parlays. It's a different kind of game than playing this point spread sports, but baseball is very profitable. The biggest players in the world do very well playing baseball, so that tells you something. And as far as this weekend, I got my college basketball shocker of the year. That's $200 online. You can get it for $20 along with a guarantee. You win the game, or you play through the tourney for free. Sign up early, get a high roller bonus going tonight. Now, plus, ask about playing through the hoop tourney for $49 also. So 1-866-841-1655. Take advantage of this big play, the Shadow Shocker, going Saturday for $20, and the high roller tonight, and then ask about the tourney situation. 1-866-841-1655.
The Shadow knows.
Only the Shadow knows, comes out of the darkness.
Yes. I remember that.
I know you do.
Yeah, no. Okay. No, we're not going to go into that. All right.
Okay.
That's it. We're done. We're going to keep doing this right through the tournaments. So, make sure we don't do it in baseball season because, quite honestly, the viewership isn't strong enough. So it goes into what we were talking about before. But the sharp guys do know about baseball. So, for Jim and myself, now's the time you want to call us. We can save you money in basketball. You want to really save money. Get in on baseball now. Call the numbers and also get the big games this weekend. And what the hell? Use those to pay for the baseball. Perfect. All right, that's it. We're done. For John Creighton and Mr. Vegas and Jim Feist, I'm Dave Koken. Thank you for watching. Have a great week, and we will talk to you next week with another edition of Proline.